Okay, I'm going to be making a card today. It's on almost a half-page piece of glossy cardstock, a little bit smaller so that I could format it onto a half page. A little bit of a double mat here, with a little bit of a white border around it. Okay, it looks like that. All right, and I'm going with a glossy cardstock just because I want to have some decent impact in terms of the color saturation and just kind of overall vibrancy. There's certain trade-offs. I'd like to do certain things with a VersaFine Clair on here, but I won't be able to do that unless I emboss, which is an option. We'll decide that when we get to it. Okay, so this is going to be focused around the Seaside Cove small stamp like that. I'm going to have a little bit of a perimeter right here. Hello, Crazy Cat Lady. Hello, CM Hawkins. Been well, thank you. And I'm going to have some palm trees on the side here, but it's mostly going to be focusing around this little space down here, a spotlit area for my little character, subject matter, and then a lot of stars up here. I want to use this quote here from Scenic Sentiments #2. Silently, one by one, in the infinite meadows of heaven blossomed the lovely stars, the forget-me-nots of the angels. I thought that would be a fitting subject matter for this card here. I want it to be, really tranquil and hopefully dramatic at the same time. So nature always has so many different personalities, doesn't it? So it can fit in with so many different types of quotes in different situations. Hello, Beverly. How are you today? All right, so, boy, I haven't stamped here. It's only been like a week, but when I don't do that, it feels like it's been like, I don't know. It feels like it's been 2 months. So I totally get when people say, hey, I'm kind of at a loss for, they need to get inspired. Well, I don't need to get inspired. I have a gazillion different scenes that I need to do. But I don't know, in terms of, just getting the gears kind of, back in motion. I totally get it in terms of kind of like creative momentum. Hello, Cheryl. All right, so here's what I'm thinking about. I'm not sure if I should do some colors down first, and then if I should stamp out my imagery over the top of it and do a little bit more coloring, or if I should just stamp everything out first and then color around the imagery. I'm thinking with this scene right here that's going to be mostly kind of a twilight going into nighttime type of scenario. I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if I should change that a touch. Maybe I'll throw in a little bit of a horizon glow with a little bit of pinkish color or something like that. Mostly blue tones though. And okay, here, let's do this. Let's add a little bit of color down here first. All right, let me see, a little bit more tone here. Hope everyone's been having some fun this past week and creating. I've been working on some international orders that needed to get out, and there's been a lot of prep work with them, and I don't know, they always seem to order at the same time. So I don't know, I've been busy with that. Okay, so see that little bit of warmish tinge down there? It doesn't look like a lot, but that little tinge down there it can make a big difference in terms of kind of the overall color richness, or palette, you might say. And something that's, I would recommend that you try out doing on whatever type of card you're working on. It doesn't have to be scenes too. You can just get kind of, it fills in so that you don't have kind of any kind of anemic areas, okay? It'll all have a little bit of tone and warmth in this case, okay? It doesn't always have to be a warm tone, but the warmth, I don't know, it gives it a certain spirit, even if you're going to be predominantly cool colors here. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, Froggy Fresh. Great looking pieces on your Flickr account. Froggy Fresh. I'm glad to see those. One of the things that's nice about, we talked about Flickr the last time. Flickr's really good. You know, a lot of people don't want to do social, you know, kind of networking and all that type of stuff. Facebook and, you know, Twitter and all that type of thing. Instagram. So, you know, Flickr is just kind of an online gallery where you can post things up and people can, you know, go in and check it out without being logged into, you know, something, you know, in the spirit of social networking and whatnot. So, yeah, you can do both, you know. You can post on Flickr and you can share it from there too, so you don't have to do like double postings and things like that. But yeah, but the pieces are looking great. Let's see, heading out for dinner, PJB. Well, have a great dinner. Where are you going? Not to hold you up. Okay, so I've got a little bit of warm tone like that. See these striations in here too? Those kind of will act as kind of your lighting kind of head start with whatever you put in here too, okay? So just keep that in mind. Little things like that. Streaks are good, right? You don't have to do things, you know, completely uniform. It kind of goes against the spirit of a lot of things, a lot of the strategies that people try to color with and getting like no textures or no marker types of marks. You know, they just want flat color, okay? So this is, I wouldn't say it's working the opposite of that spirit, but just different. And, you know, like I said, you don't have to, you know, go for certain types of textural kind of, you know, strategies that you have before. Okay, so anyways, here is a Memento Bahama blue going on here, okay? But see that tone in there? It's a little bit different than what it would look like on just white paper, huh? Suddenly you have kind of a temperature range going from warm and cool, okay? A lot of things, I'm just showing you this kind of, it's kind of just in the spirit of kind of expand, you know, the expansion of your temperature range. You know, there's let's see, there's, you know, within color, there's hue as one thing. There's temperature, two, value, and intensity. So four traits when it comes to color. And this is just a way to get, you know, kind of a vast, you know, a nice range in one of those traits just inherently. And what most people don't really think about doing, you know, combining warmth in a generally cool color scheme, okay? All right, now this is going on kind of dry for me, so this is what I always recommend too. Going with your re-inker, okay? And just making, even though this is glossy cardstock, this ink is fairly thick. Okay, I can do that, but this is just going to make it go so much faster. So I'm putting a little bit of a Memento Summer Sky here. You can go with Distress ink or something like that. Marvy is a little bit thinner, so, I mean, you could do that if you're going with a Salvia blue or something really light like that, but I'd recommend a little bit of a thicker ink to begin with here. Hello, oh, the Red Robin. I was just thinking about Red Robin the other day. I was thinking, we haven't been to places like that in a long time. We have a Red Robin in a local mall here, if it's even still open. Hello, Annie. Hello, Linda. Oh, yeah, that's right, Froggy Fresh. Well, for being colorblind, you sure do well. There was an article of this stamper back in the 90s. This guy that was the head librarian at the Libraries of Congress, and he was a stamper. So he was colorblind. So what he said he did was, this is pre-stamp pads, but he used markers. So he would have his friends or, you know, just someone tell him what type of green, something was. So it would be, like a grass green or a Christmas green or something like that. And he marked, on his pens, maybe in a Sharpie or something like that, or maybe just made notations of it that number 60 blue was like a dull blue or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if it was with everything. It might have been just greens and reds or something like that. Hello, Paula. How are you? Hello, Beth. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining in, everyone. Anyone that's on. Okay, but there's a little bit of that warmth in there. All right. So if you're colorblind, Froggy Fresh, maybe that would heighten kind of your sensitivity towards, like values and light and shade, All right, so adding this in. All right, so if you just joined in, this is going to be a kind of an ocean piece flanked by... I should start thinking about this now because I want this area down here to be kind of spotlit. It's going to be like this, and I'm going to have a surfer in the foreground, kind of in a spotlit area. Okay, so it's going to be like this. I'll put this area right here as my ocean area. I want to have a little bit of, shoreline right here. And then I want to have a lot of stars up here. Okay, and there's going to be palm trees coming in from the left and right side. At some point in time, I should probably add that in just so I could start working around it. Right now, it's, it's kind of in, in theory here where everything is going to be. But I'll tell you what, it's an easy way to work with certain types of imagery where it doesn't matter whether you stamp it first and then color it in, or if you do kind of a background first and then you stamp everything out. This one's going to be a little bit of both. I'm going to get this background going, and I can do it without, kind of worrying about imagery smearing, like some palm leaves and things like that stamped in here. Maybe I can do it if I stamp it in stays on or something like that, and I can just streak right over it right away without having to worry about it smearing. So, yeah, CM, yeah, it's one of those things. This is a condolence card here. It's for my cousin's. He lost his kid, but I was telling someone recently, that was. Saying that they have a lot of stamps from certain companies, and I know what types of stamps they are. And hello, Dan. And they were saying that they lost interest in them, and when they started scenic stamping or Stampscapes, and I said I've heard that a lot before from people, you know what I mean? Just people, we're stampers. We want to kind of, I don't know, learn new things and whatnot. And I was just telling her that I've heard it, just over the years, that one of the things about scenic stamping is, nature has a lot of different personalities. So, you can use the same imagery in different ways for different types of emotions or, purposes, in this case, a condolence type of thing. But the same scene could be stamped out very differently, or you can have a different quote and it would fit perfectly well. It's like nature's completely, versatile in terms of what it can evoke. And that's one of the things that's really nice about kind of doing natural types of things like this, is because it can be evocative. So it's you're working on an emotional level with certain types of imagery that are awesome, and they do really well at what they do. But if they're something that's like really cute or something like that, hey, I love those, but it evokes cuteness, and again, that's awesome, and I like those images, but you know what I mean? You wouldn't use certain types of images you know, for just about, you know, for anything. And you could do that with, she could do that with her nature pieces. So I think that's what she was, you know, feeling. All right, so that being said, we're getting a little bit darker here. And I want to go into stars here because I'm going to use this card in conjunction with this, you know, silently one by one in the infinite meadows of heaven blossom the lovely stars, the forget-me-nots of the angels. So I thought that would go really well with this piece here. And I haven't stamped my palm trees in a while, so I thought I would do that. Let's see. Okay, so this is drying fairly quickly. Okay, so this is one of the things I was talking about. I've talked about this in previous videos a lot. It's fairly dry here. I also have the fan blowing on me because these lights in here get really hot sometime. So this is drying out really fast. Okay, so as I went on here with my re-inker, and it was really flowing nice and easy, okay? Now I'm kind of back to a fairly dry surface. I can get it, you know, I can drag this on here, but you might notice how my paper towel is starting to tear a lot. It's because it's grabbing this surface a lot. So all you do is you go back in with your lighter tone again, and you can kind of put another slathering over it. And then when you do that, just your lighter colors will blend and apply much easier, okay? Because you're kind of you're not achieving super saturation, but you're getting pretty saturated though at the moment. But again, you know, it'll probably start drying on you again. So you just kind of reapply this again, okay? So don't be afraid to go back to previous tones just to kind of get things moving again. A lot of people don't do that, and when they're first starting out, if they're doing this type of technique where you're going for a lot of layers like that, a lot of times they'll just try to force whatever color they're on, and if it's a darker one, that's when you can get, you know, kind of unintentional, undesirable kind of marks because there's such a dark color and they're being applied to, you know, it might be a light area like that, okay? So just go back in with your lighter tones again. Like, especially like right around in here, I can really feel it kind of catching and dragging like that, okay? All right. Relubricate. Hello, Michelle. All right. Froggy Fresh struggles doing cute cards. From the emotional perspective or from the visual perspective? Or from the, yeah, I don't know, expression perspective? Have you ever tried Swiffer wipes? I haven't. I'm trying to remember if I have in a store before. I don't know if it was Swiffer, but I know people used to use those once in a while. Maybe, like I said, maybe it wasn't the Swiffers, though. Maybe it was something else. But that seems really familiar in terms of some sort of... I'm trying to remember what they used it for. It might have been for ink application. I think I was in a store somewhere where they did that. Hello, Rose. How are you? Yeah. So if you're using them, Michelle, how do you use them, and are you using them multiple times on separate days, or do you just use them for that project and then you're done with it? Coloring them is a nightmare, huh? Is cute... Okay, so I'm trying to deduce what that means in terms of coloring them. So would cute be like more of like an outline design or something like that of an image that you would be coloring in or something like that? That, I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I don't know. People that can give Froggy Fresh some tips on that, please chime in on that. I wouldn't be the person to ask about that. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if too much of what I would do would be possibly classified as cute. Now that I look at it, I don't think I have too many cute images in my like personal collection, like say outside of Stampscapes. I can probably do a cute scene. I would do a cabin, and I'd do it very lightly in the sky. Just a little bit of blues or something like that. But I would make the grassy area around it, bright and airy and full of flowers with paint pens. I would have like a totally floral setting for that. That comes to mind for me in terms of like a scene, a potential scene. I haven't really done it. I'm trying to think if I've done something with the kind of the idea of cute in mind. I should. I've done it with the idea of kind of bright and airy, or, springtime types of notions and whatnot. But I don't know if I've done it, with the idea of cute in mind. Okay. It's a challenge. It shouldn't be a challenge for me at this point in time, but I don't know if I haven't done it. Okay, let's see. Like I said, this is it's supposed to be nighttime with stars up here, so I am getting fairly dark up here. But I think maybe it's time that I stamp something out. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I should have stamped it earlier, because now this page is getting a little bit wet, and then I'm going to stamp my image in there in black, and then, because this page is a little bit super saturated, I might drag around on here and it might start smearing, where if I stamped it before, most of that black impression would get absorbed into the paper because it's not saturated yet. So I don't know. But like I said, this is setting up fairly fast, so I don't know. I can heat set too. And it's not like it's dry, I mean, it's not super wet to the touch or anything like that. I mean, I can go like this and it's not coming off on my fingers, Let's see. Swiffer wipes cleaning up glitter and now applying ink. Well, sounds like a good idea. It doesn't dilute your inks though, Michelle. Let's see. I cut them into small... Oh, okay. I thought that's going to be, if you're using like a whole wipe, but that makes sense that you're cutting them out smaller. Yeah, and if you're using the Swiffer wipes too, they're dry, right? Sentiments are sarcastic. Does this rag smell like the chloroform? Does this rag smell like chloroform to you? Well, that's cute, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. You can use that. That one would go with this one. The chloroform. The creature, I don't think he used chloroform, but I mean, it would work, right? So there's one right there. I don't know, doesn't everyone have a Creature of the Black Lagoon stamp? Yeah, that would be a good one. Any type of, any type of absorbent material, okay, that you can utilize for any type of wet styles of application. I think that that would be a good idea. Froggy Fresh, I'm sorry to say that where you would get that stamp is you'd have to jump in your time machine and go back to probably, oh, like the 80s or something like this. This is the Ken Brown stamps from 1984. So, I mean, even like in the late 80s, he stopped producing stamps, and they were being made by Rubber Stamps of America. But I think there's like a different version of the Creature of the Black Lagoon on the Viva Las Vegas stamps. You wouldn't look up Creature of the Black Lagoon or something like Frankenstein or Dracula, I don't think. Unless, if those are copyright images, you would look up probably People or something like that. Like, they're not going to have Elvis under the Elvis name. It'll just be like Rocker or something like that. But I think they had something in regards to that. Okay, so I'm going to wipe off this bottom area right here. Okay, because I'm going to have this surfer standing out there looking out into the ocean. So I'm wiping that part off like that, right? Because if I have this like hard, dark line right there where he's going to be standing in front of, it'll like cut him in half, okay, from a visual perspective. All right, so just wipe off certain portions that you don't want on scenic stamps, okay? All right, large stamp, standing up, pressure left, center, right, top and bottom a little bit. I've got all these crumbs all over my desk here, so I hope I'm not stamping over any of them. I was cleaning some of my stamps earlier, and I have like these little paper towel little particles, which I wouldn't have if I was cleaning with a Swiffer. Okay. All right, so see that little open area right there? That looks a little bit awkward, but, you know, this little surfer's going to be standing right in front of it like that, okay? All right, so I got a pretty good impression. I was, you know, it's one of those things where you kind of have to take into consideration, like I said, you know, where you might be stamping with a wet impression onto a, you know, semi-wet surface here, where, but like I said, this is setting up really fast. This is like really dry. I'm starting to wonder, is this, you know, I was looking at that, I was thinking, wait a minute, is this the glossy cardstock? I started wondering almost if it was the matte card, or my semi-gloss cardstock. And it feels different. It doesn't feel like my normal glossy for some reason. I don't know why. Everyone wants that creature. It's so funny, you know. I mean, this is, you don't see people, you know, stamping with this set, but I used it on something. It was like, a lot of people wanted it, you know, after that. And then there was this other one, Edward Gorey, this little thing that looks like a slug, you know. I don't know, I guess it hits with certain people, you know, certain people like, you know, certain types of images, I guess, you know, and I'd be included in that because I have it, right? I like all those kind of weird little images like that. I thought they were always kind of fun to incorporate in with a scene, so. Yeah, jump into your TARDIS, go back in time, or you can get in touch with Ken Brown. He was this guy, you might have seen a lot of his, if any of you watched Sesame Street, you know, back when, mostly in like the 70s, you would have seen some Ken Brown stop motion little movies that he'd made for Sesame Street, and it was with rubber stamps. So you see these rubber stamps kind of moving across the screen, and that was his stuff. He made these little animations, and anyway, what I'm getting at is I was looking him up just a couple years ago. And I found something, like a contact thing, and I sent him a note. And he wrote back, I don't know, he wrote back a little bit, you know, later, I don't know, might have been months later or something like that. But, yeah, so he's around. It'd be kind of cool if he had his plates still. Okay, so anyways, what I'm doing right here, easiest masking assignment in the world here, just a flat piece of paper going across here. But see, I'm making this strong horizon line like that. So that's what you do on, or that's what you can do if you want to on the Seaside Cove stamps, either the larger or the smaller one. And also that just kind of creates a little bit of separation between sky and surface there. Elephant stamps are my go-to for cute. I knew someone that was really into elephants. So for Froggy Fresh, you'd see this name like Froggy Fresh, you'd think, maybe their go-to would be frogs. Yeah. I knew a store. She probably had I'm guessing she had every frog stamp out there on the market. And her store was called Toad Hall. It wasn't called Toad Hall Rubber Stamps, it was just called Toad Hall. But I used to teach there all the time when I started Stampscapes. And I like teaching a lot of areas, but that was kind of my go-to local stamp store, and it was in Buena Park back in the 90s to early 2000s. Fun times. All right, I'm looking at this and trying to make my assessment here. Everything needs to get like much richer and darker, but that's kind of my little foundation there. Even though I went to black, I'm going to still go back and get some different blues down. How hard it is to find Star Wars. Oh my gosh, if you find Star Wars stamps, I'm trying to think if I ever remember anyone having the licensing for that. I think I could be mistaken, but I would have sworn I've seen like a Darth Vader Star Wars. That's one of those things, if anyone's doing like a pirated type of version of that, yeah, that would be really not something to fool around with for a stamp company. But like I said, I've seen these types of licenses like the Star Trek. I've seen, Stamp Oasis had that licensing. But yeah, Star Wars, that'd be really hard. If a company was to do that type of licensing on that type of property, it would, I don't know what they would require from them. They would require so many stamps being sold. They would probably get a certain percentage. Plus the licensing fee on that alone would be astronomical. And then I don't know, I don't know if there'd be a lot of Star Wars fans, okay, that were also crafters, okay. It seems like it's not that same kind of, target audience in some ways, to where now where you might get that happening is somewhere like Cricut or something like that. They might be able to license something out of the Star Wars type of thing, to do, different templates or something like that. I could see that because that's a much larger audience, and the Cricut, people that were using like Cricut, those types of things, they'd be, they could make t-shirts and stuff like that out of it. But then, that Star Wars, copyright holder was Disney. They wouldn't want that though, because they that would interfere with their market. So that's a super tough I don't know, whatever assignment for some craft company to to steer that type of thing. Stamp Oasis, I forgot, they did tell me about kind of the requirements for their Star Trek. And we're not even talking about Star Trek The Next Generation. We're talking about original Star Trek imagery that was out there. And you secure the license for a certain number of years, and there was all these types of requirements for that. It sounded like a real nightmare, and something that was just not practical for, most companies to be able to, I don't know, not to comply with, but to fulfill, maybe. Okay, so anyways, this is going on. That was a darker blue like that. Out of production stamps on Etsy and eBay. Huh. What company was that? I'm trying to think of All Night Media, Rubber Stampede. I don't know. Does anyone else know of where some Star Wars types of stuff? Like I said, I don't. I'm surprised that they were even out there at all, and I'm wondering if they were officially licensed pieces. I think, I don't know if anyone knows what Comic-Con is here. I think that's coming up pretty soon, but there's this gigantic comic convention, but it's really kind of more around, geared around kind of the film industry these days. Or maybe, I don't know, it's probably been the last 20 years it's been that way, but originally it was more around comics, but I don't know. When I think of Star Wars or something like that, I think about that coming up here pretty soon. Okay, so anyways, we're going on with this. It's kind of dulling out my Seaside Cove a little bit by going over it, and that's why I kind of stamped it afterwards. I think it would have been really not very visible if I did it early on and I buried it under all my inks like that, okay? But, I don't know, this kind of goes along with the spirit of this piece anyways. If it's a little bit kind of, I don't know, more kind of, not mystical, but, I don't know the word I'm looking for. This is going to be a fun splatter painting thing, because I'm just going to lay a mask down here and you're just going to splatter paint all up in here in the sky like that. Oh, you have some stamps made for kids, I see. Huh. Let me see. Tiny frog stamp that wasn't... Let me see, what was it? I missed those frog comments there. Yeah, I have a frog. One of my favorite stamps is one of my little frogs, and he's kind of leaping. I used to have him leaping off of something. So if I did a water scene, not like ocean like this, but a little pond or something like that, I'd have him leaping over into that. I should use some of those stamps. It was probably from 100 Proof Press or Gumbo Graphics or something like that. Tiny frog stamps are really fun too. Like if you have one sitting there, what you do is you stamp it in the foreground, and what you do is it kind of creates a worm's eye view of within your scene. So I like Sam, if a scene was like this and I put a branch right here and I put like a centipede on it, it really puts someone right into the scene in terms of spatially. It's like you're right down with the bugs, which a lot of you won't, it's like, that's not what I want, but it's kind of, it's kind of a, yeah, I don't know, like I said, the term whimsical comes to mind a lot, when you take someone down into those kind of things. It reminds me of a lot of those old cartoons, I don't know what company that was. Looney Tunes or something like that. Those really old ones, that were often playing like classical music or something like that. Okay, so anyways, I'm going in and I'm just kind of, I want to give this a little bit more richness, so I'm going in and adding layer after layer after layer. And this one's a Caribbean blue, okay? Now, I don't know if you can tell, but still, there's a little bit of that warm tone in here, okay? It's not just this anemic thing, and that's what that antique linen provided. So there's a little bit of this warmth in here. It's barely visible because I've covered it up a lot, but it's a foundation type of ink, and you can see that little warmth up there too. I mean, it's being created by some of this Caribbean blue too, but if that wasn't in there, I should, one of these days I'll do like one without that and one with it. Now, if I got to this point without using it too, I can just put it right over the top of it too, and it would be, any problem, because they're all transparent inks. I mean, it might affect it a little bit in terms of look, but, you can apply those types of things at any point in time for the most part and have the same types of basic results. Can't find the Death Star. Yeah, I've never, like I said, I nothing comes to mind for me in terms of Star Wars stamps, but I haven't been looking. You know, there might have been stuff that was licensed that I would never see in a stamp store because it was more mass market type of stuff where you'd see it like in a kit at you know, Barnes and Noble or something like that, you know, in a bookstore like that type of thing. Candy likes out of the ordinary stamps. I do too. Those are the types of things that definitely catch my eye. Oh, your adult daughter and husband are going to Comic-Con. Awesome. I used to go to that all the time. You know, I collected comics as a kid, and then I stopped. Well, I was a teenager at the time, middle school and teenager. But then, you know, periodically I would still go to Comic-Con because I still have my comics. And, you know, back when I used to go to it, it was no problem to, you know, just decide like the day before. It's like, hey, you know, I'd ask a friend or something like that. Hey, do you feel like going? You want, you know, doing anything tomorrow? You want to just drive down to Comic-Con? You drive down. You park at the convention center for, you know, $15 a day or something like that. And sometimes even at that, it was like, should we spend that? It's like, yeah, I don't want to hassle with, you know, going out and park. Nowadays, you have to make reservations to even park. And then if you want to get into Comic-Con, I don't know, you have to, I don't know, they sell it in like a few seconds with the extra tickets that are available. And it's a 4-day pass. You can't just buy a 1-day pass. And I don't know, it's just such a gigantic thing. Now that I live in San Diego, I've never been to it. Oh, but I did go to this other thing that was going on simultaneously downtown. And I wasn't aware of that parking situation, so we wanted to park in a parking structure, you know, that was a ways away from the convention center where Comic-Con is, but it gets so busy at this comic book convention that parking in this parking structure, it was a flat fee of like $40, okay, where it's normally, you know, you probably pay by the hour or part of the event. And I don't know, I was shocked at that, to say the least. Now it's probably 100. Okay, let's see. Gotta put the kids to bed. Good night to the kids. Okay, so I'm going back in with this because, see that dark area right there pretty much got eradicated from those extra tones that I was laying down there, okay? So you have to go in periodically and reapply those types of things in this type of process right here. Like I said, I don't know, this feels like I'm working on my, I don't know, it feels like I'm working on my semi-gloss, which is closer to a matte for some reason. I'm wondering if I'm using a different glossy than what I'm, I don't know, used to. I don't know why. It's not like I have like tons of different types of glossy. I don't have a frog stamp. I used to have a frog stamp in my designs from a Stamp in the Hand company. It was this, basically, it was a stamp of these legs coming out of the water, and there was just a splash down here, so it was the frog jumping into the, you know, pond or something like that you can use in, like in a foreground or something like that. And I worked for a Stamp in the Hand before I started Stampscapes, by the way, for those that don't know. And I remember just thinking, when they were thinking of names for that stamp, I wanted to name it Frog Legs. They named it something else, Splashing Frog or something like that. But I thought Frog Legs would be perfect for that. All right, so we're establishing a little bit more of a kind of a spotlight area right here. Remember, when you're going into kind of your scenes or whatever, you can kind of approach it from, you know, a different perspective, but one of the basic things that I'm thinking about most of the times that I think gives myself the most amount of freedom when approaching a scene is to think about it like a stage, okay? Don't think about it like okay, let me see. If this was the ocean and if I was there, would the light be, here? You know what I mean? That type of thing. That's a little bit of a limiting type of scenario for you, okay? You can have two spotlit areas or whatever. So, on a stage, you're just kind of directing your viewer's eye wherever you want it to go. If there's someone walking over here and he's got to speak to someone back here, then you would leave this area lit like that, and that creates its own kind of little dynamic, visual dialogue that's going on, and you want to be able to see people, or if you have a band that's on stage or something like that, and you have 5 people playing or whatnot, maybe you have it focused on the lead singer, and and if it's a band where the drummer doesn't matter, then maybe they're in the darkness. But if it's a famous band where you knew all the band members, then you want to light, have a light on each one of them. So see it like that. And also, on a stage or whatnot, you're creating a world unto itself. Everything that needs to be up there is up there and present, and your own world lacks for nothing else. And there's really no rules to it in terms of things like scenic lighting, colors, whatever. People use colors for different types of emphasis within these given situations here. So it really frees you up kind of from a mentality standpoint, okay? And, kind of creating whatever mood you want. Hello, Linda. Hello, Jeannie. There used to be this company. Okay, I don't know if they made it or not. Okay, I was telling someone about this not too long ago, but Mitsubishi, the big company, right? They have all kinds of different, big company corporations like that. They have all kinds of different whatever sections, parts, okay? And one of the things is they made pens. And one time they came to me, they were just calling all kinds of different stamp, crafting stamp companies to see if they can get some, if they can pick our brains. But one of the things, the kits they had that they hadn't released was you can make your own stamps at home. So, and they were all the polymer types. So you would somehow take maybe it was with a Xerox, like a copy or something like that, and then you would make an exposure with it where you can make your own stamps at home, your own poly stamps, okay, clear stamps. And the thing that they were asking me was, do they think that type of thing would sell? And they were also trying to, kind of take a guess at, this is Prussian blue light here. Look at that bright, dark blue there. It's kind of cutting into that black, but it's kind of neat that way. They were asking, so if would people buy that type of thing? And the thing about it is that all the consumables, by the time you might be able to make things at home, but it would be expensive to make your own stamps. So it was more expensive. Like if they were to make a stamp like this size, it would be cheaper to buy a stamp that size. But of course, it's not custom. You can't make, just about whatever thing you want. So they were trying to think about things like, okay, so should they, if they were, what would be, my advice on, would they just sell the kit at a price that they would be able to make a profit on, or do they sell the kit at a really cheap price, but they make all their money on the consumables, so the little exposure thing, and all those little things that you would have to replenish. And that's how printer companies work too a lot, they practically, give the printer away for less than cost, but they make all their money on the toner cartridges and stuff like that, the consumables. But anyways, that would be, kind of, when I think about, something like a Death Star type of stamp or something like that, that would be one that would have been perfect for that kit. I don't know if they ever released it or if there was another kit like it out there. I'm not sure. I don't know. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Was anyone ever able to make their own stamps like that? I don't know. Maybe Froggy Fresh is making that, or maybe she's carving it out of a you know, like a eraser carving. That'd be tough though. Death Star. Hello, Linda. Let's see. Does it look like clouds upside down like that? Yeah, it could be. That ocean, you know, type of those striations like that, oftentimes at like a sunset or something like that, when it's all red and things like that, it occurred to me that, you know, unless you had kind of a strong horizon sometimes. I used to love going surfing, and we'd go surfing at sunset a lot, and it was just amazing when there was like cloud formations in the sky and looking at it down in the water where it's really reflective of the sky and whatnot. Frogger Fresh hates their printer. What printer? Does everyone have a good printer? One of the things I was working on last night was I have a, you know, black and white laser printer. I was trying to figure out what was going on with it. I thought it was the toner cartridges, maybe. Then I thought it was the, oh, I forgot, what is that other thing besides a toner cartridge? The, I can't think of the name of it right now. But I found out that was more of an internal thing going on with the, this one roller. Okay, so making it a little bit more kind of confusing as to where kind of the sky ends and the surface begins type of thing. I'm getting the real kind of draggy out there. That looks like one of those kind of alcohol marker types of looks, doesn't it? Okay, but anyways, I'm going for all this background texture in here. I want that type of thing because I'm going to be splatter painting some colors over the, you know, or the paint over that entire area right there. So I want to get the sky in here, which will have some nice variation in there, but I want to get it kind of, you know, a little bit more interesting in the background from a textural standpoint before I do that texturing on there, okay? So I dragged all that color in there. And see this right here, I'm just going to apply more of that black, like right over the top of that. So I think this is like the third time I've applied this black in here, okay? But see, that black now looks a lot different, remember, than the first time I applied that black in here, which was really anemic looking. So, yeah. Lino stamps, yeah. Those linoleum, I haven't done a linoleum block stamp in a long time. I'm trying to think if I've even done one of those besides I did it in high school. Linoleum block piece for my graphic arts class. Okay, that's looking much better now, huh? With that black in there. HP EcoTank printer. Okay, printed a bunch and barely made a dent on the ink levels. My wife got one of those, and she made a mistake by not printing out on a regular basis, and she had to get this like kit to clear the lines. But yeah, those EcoTank printers are pretty good in terms of you know, the economy of, you know, per print. That's definitely the way to go, it seems. If you're going to do, you know, a decent amount of printing. All right. Yeah, that's coming along much better. That's what I wanted right there. So I just had to build it up. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Linda's printer broke. You know, there's just less printing needed these days, isn't there? I mean, it's like, you know, all those different companies from back when, Hewlett-Packard and all those companies, there was so many different companies, Canon and, You know, everyone was, back when digital photography first came out too, everyone was printing photos, but just a lot less printing of that type of thing going on. At least home printing going on these days. Like one of the things I mentioned in one of these live streams about 2 weeks ago or something like that, I don't know, Shutterfly had this sale. I don't remember what it was. It was like, I thought it was 200 4x6 prints for free or something like that. 250. I know it wasn't 25. It was like in the hundreds, but you paid for shipping. Now, you know, if you're going to be printing a lot of prints, like even when I was printing out cloud photos for photo stamping, I just had them done at Costco because I wanted to get like 20, you know, or 30 prints done. These days you can't have it at Costco, you know, like at your local Costco, but they still have the, you know, where you can order them online, and it was probably still cheaper than, you know, buying toner ink. Even with an EcoTink, I didn't want to, you know, totally lower the blue ink levels on the printer, home printer. All right, but anyways, this is getting where I want it to be here. Man, that's taking a lot of ink. Let's see. Every printer I've ever had needs an exorcist. Oh, when you change the cartridges, huh? I wouldn't know about a lot of that. I have a black and white laser printer, and that thing has worked like amazing for, I don't know, 13 years or so. And I just switched back to my other one that came out of my office, and that one never failed. But I think the color ones, though, I don't have a lot of my color ones anymore. Yeah, what? Okay, I'm just starting to remember about printers. Like on Macs, a lot of the, you know, when you upgrade your OS, you know, your operating systems, what drove me mad was you couldn't upgrade if you wanted certain printers to still work because they didn't support it anymore. Okay, that's why I got rid of a lot of my printers in the past. Otherwise, I'd still be using them probably, if they were still supported in terms of the consumables. But yeah, that drove me nuts, you know. It's like, don't upgrade, you know. So it's like I have all my computers set to not automatically upgrade anymore because of that issue. I am using a paper towel here, Linda. It's like the latest, greatest high tech in rubber stamping, I don't know, whatever technology. I used to use sponges more, but in the form of the color box stylus tool. So if you watch any of my older videos, I'm always using this thing called a color box stylus tool, and that thing was awesome in terms of ergonomics, absorbency, because it's a sponge, right? This is Tiny Rocks, by the way. And ClearSnap went out of business, so I stopped using that and went back to low, I don't know, maybe the lowest tech possible, you know. I went back to the 80s, basically. Or, I don't know, early 90s, you know, where, you know, a paper towel does the trick. And I don't know, it was a good idea to do that, too. I'm kind of glad that happened because I get, you know, basically what I want out of it. It's not quite as, I don't know, I guess it's ergonomic. I like the feel of the sponges, though, and being able to get in smaller areas. Now, I'll just use an alcohol marker for tighter details or something like that, which is no big deal, too. I mean, they're really good to use. But when I say it was probably a good thing, or I like that happened, was it got me off of the color box stylus tools. If you're in the U.S., color box stylus tools were not hard to come by. We sold them, as a matter of fact, because a lot of people just don't sell them anymore. So I started selling them, which wasn't the reason why I sold them. I sold them because people couldn't find them, you know, people didn't carry them because people didn't use them the way that I used them. They were designed to be used as the shapes, to stamp out like an oval or something like that. But I used it as this, an application tool. Okay, but what I'm getting at, it was international. You couldn't find those. So if someone in Australia or New Zealand wanted one of those things, they'd have to order it from the US, and it would cost, like $20 in shipping or something like that to get that to them, because, no distributors carried it out there, or someone wanted it out there in the UK or something, and it was really hard to get. So, and even though I would say, hey, you don't really need this color box stylus tool, you could use if I said back then, hey, you can use a paper towel for that, people would think I was crazy because I was, demonstrating the paper towel or something like that. They would think, okay, well, I can't use Stampscapes because I don't have a color box stylus tool. I have a Brother laser printer, and I have two of them. Just the monochromatic, black and white one. And yeah, I love them. I love them because of the longevity of it. But now, like I said, I ran into a problem like that. But that's, I think I started having the problem with it about a year ago. And that's like 12 years of heavy usage. So never, not a complaint here. But the part that I need to replace it with, and I was watching YouTube videos on how to do that, which I think I can do it with no problem. The part costs $20, so. Is that purple? No, I was using blue here. Froggy Fresh is a little bit colorblind. Which is not a secret, Froggy Fresh said that here. But no, it's more of, so Froggy Fresh, if you can't, I don't know if you can see blue greens, but this is a little bit of it's like a neutral blue out here, okay? And then it moves into a warmer blue right in this interior here. So a little bit more, I don't know, what would you guys call this? Aqua or something like that? And then, if you can see it, there's a touch of the antique linen, which is a little bit of a warmth in here. So that little bit of a glow, that is the antique linen right here, okay? It's very, very subtle at this point in time, but that's what gives you that little bit of a warmth within. Cool. And then up here, there's a little bit, there's quite a bit of that antique linen under all this, okay? And a little bit down here too. Okay, but here's what I was saying. Going into these areas, hang on, a little bit too dark here. You can color in things with your pens or whatever. If you're working on a different type of paper, you can use colored pencils and whatnot. Let's see, I think I missed some things here. Let's see. I'm reading up on these printers right here, whatever you said. Hello, Diana. Hello, Janet. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so start lightly, and then see I'm coming into these areas, and I'm just getting into these areas. If I want to shade it a little bit, and I'm doing it with this is a very dull, pale blue, okay? So it shows up a little bit in the areas where I haven't really colored in very much, okay? But in the other areas, it'll be, that are darker than it, it's basically invisible, okay? So, but it's a way to go in and, just kind of enhance your shaded areas, okay? And by shaded areas, there's, areas like underneath these waves here that are darker than other areas, okay? So see this little area in here, it's darker. So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a mystery as far as, where you apply the shadows. These aren't outline designs, so you can just look at the darker area and you just color in the darker areas that are inherently darker on the stamp, okay? So there's little lines in here. You can go in here. Okay. About like so. All right. And I just do it, you know, I don't know. You can add it accordingly. You can take it as dark as you want, or you can leave it as is and just let the stamp design itself, you know, kind of state where the darker shadows are. But I think it looks better if you reiterate it with colors that you're working. So if this was a sunset scene, you might make your shadows in there, you know, a little bit more reds or purples or something like that. I like using browns, you know, in terms of warm tone scenes, okay? But you just make your shadows just a little bit, you know, they're often, the shadow areas are often the brightest areas, or the brightest colors within a given piece. But when I say the brightest, I don't mean the lightest, okay? Brightest is, you know, the relative intensity of something, all right? So, or you can just make it darker like this. This isn't like really bright shadows in here, but see that right there? See that? Don't these waves in here look a little bit more three-dimensional now? Just with a little bit of tone over there. If you're working on matte paper, use a little bit of colored pencil. Colored pencils would be great for this. Thank you, Art Adventure, for that description. Excellent. That is a nice description. I think I'm going to start using that scan and cut. I want to do like a scan and cut, like for my fences and things like that. I want to do the scan and cut for fences and just paste them right over something, you know, to make them look really three-dimensional. Then I don't have to work around them either. Oftentimes I use them, stamping them like after I've stamped everything in the background. But if I want like different types of textures and patterns and things like that, you know, or if I want to stamp out the fence in, let's say my fences are in a lighter tone and it's darker in the background, then I can do the scan and cut and I just paste them right down. So I think, yeah, I have access to one too, since my wife has one. She says I can use it, but you know, and I haven't gotten around to that yet. I need to use her Cricut too more often. I want to do like round scenes, you know, especially if there's like a round, you know, like a full moon in it or something like that. Doing a round scene would be awesome, wouldn't it? Or I mean, even just an oval would look better than a rectangle from a thematic standpoint. You know, just having those curved edges. And I saw someone recently had this torn piece like this. It was like a cutout. It was like this, and it went down like this. And it looked like it was torn, but I could tell it was more like on a, template or whatever, one of those, you know, types of cutters, like a Cricut or something like that. You know, because the edges were too perfect. They weren't like hand torn. They were, you know, it was a design. And I thought, oh, that looks so good, you know. So the scan and cut and or the Cricut would be awesome to utilize in conjunction with one another. All right, so let's see here. Okay, I think that is it on the color. I think that is definitely enough there. Does everyone know what tack and peel is? I don't need tack and peel here with this one, but if you're using bare rubber, which I'll be using with my palm stalks here, this is just a bare piece of rubber. And this is tack and peel on my acrylic block. Okay, so the tack and peel allows for the temporary mounting on your acrylic blocks right there. I had someone ask me about that recently. They were miraculously able to get their bare rubber somehow to adhere some of their stamps onto just plain acrylic, okay? You know, I don't know how, but yeah, you need a temporary mounting system for that. And yeah, the foam, you don't. Okay, the cling foam. Okay, so Okay, so I'm going to add in some islands in here, just out in the distance. Or actually, I wonder if I should. Maybe I shouldn't do that, because I'm going to have the palm fronds in here. Or palm stalks. Maybe that would interfere with it, huh? You'll be coming across that. Okay, let me do the palm stalks first. I'm really tempted to do them almost in the VersaFine Clair. That is glossy, right? That sure looks glossy to me. Look at this. I put that little crease in it when I was streaking like that. You gotta watch out for that, but no big deal. All right, so this is going to flank this side and this side. I'll just do it in the Marvy black right here. You can do it in a StazOn if you want to, or something like that too. Fairly saturated with ink, so let's go for a fairly long impression of this, okay? I hope I'm getting enough ink on this. This is the first time I've used this stamp. I have this somewhere, but I couldn't find it. I don't know why. It's not like I have my stamps everywhere here. Okay, so let's go like this. And these are just the stalks. I have the fronds separately, or designed separately, so we can put as many or as few fronds as we want based on the background that we've already created. And plus, if these fronds were on there like this, that would have been a stamp like this size. It would have cost, I don't know, a huge amount of money. And back when I was doing these, everything was wood mounted, so that would have made a gigantic mount, you know. A Silhouette 4+. I don't know anything about the silhouettes, but I've seen different types of papers and stuff made for that silhouette. I think when I was looking up a lot of different materials for people in different areas or whatever, foils and stuff like that in different markets were a little bit harder to find. But I was finding all this silhouette. I didn't even know what the silhouette was. Okay, so stamping this out. You know, again, one of the things I was mentioning is I probably could have stamped this in the VersaFine Clair, and we could have embossed all of this imagery too. I think you still did that with the fronds, maybe. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It could be a little bit darker, preferably, but not too bad. It looks more like a 90% gray to me than a black. But that's, I don't know, that's kind of the color that the VersaFine Clair looks like sometimes after I emboss the VersaFine Clair black with clear embossing. I think the clear embossing somehow dilutes it or something like that. But it would be three-dimensional. Which could be interesting too. Okay, so this one's going to come in on the other side like this. All right, I'll stamp it a little bit. I'm going to stamp it a little bit higher, and I'm going to tilt it this way a little bit, just so that these are kind of both kind of going in a little bit towards the center right in here. Oh, here's another thing I forgot to do too. I'll do my star splatter painting after this, and then I'll do my fronds afterwards. I should have done the splatter painting first, maybe. You can do it both ways. I mean, I still have the fronds to go. Sometimes if you stamp over the top of that Dr. Martin's Bleed Proof White, it's a little bit harder because those actual splattered paint dots are raised. Okay, maybe this is the best way to do it here. Get these down, you know, do the stars, and then do the fronds afterwards. I don't know. Okay, so there we go. So we have some decent framing like that. It looks kind of weird without the fronds in there, but those will be coming up here. All right, so tack and peel. My little plastic sheet here, protective sheet, tore. I need to tape that together there. Don't lose your plastic pieces like that over your tack and peel, especially, you tend to lose it on like little sizes like this. It's really easy to lose a clear piece of something that looks like, you know, I don't know what it looks like, a little, you know, clear piece of plastic, you know, it's easy to get tossed out. Okay, so splatter painting here. And I did clean off my splatter painting brush before this started here. I'm going to mask off that horizon line like that, okay? Well, maybe we'll use a little bit of a... Yeah, I was thinking about using it down there, maybe not. I still have my little figure to stamp out down there. I wonder if I should... No, I'm going to stamp him out later. Okay, so Dr. Martin's Bleed Proof White is a little jar of very opaque white watercolor paint that's often used by calligraphers for their hand lettering, hand brush lettering, or dip pen lettering. And it dries very quickly and it's very opaque. So, you know, calligraphers need that opacity for their letter forms, because in that brush calligraphy and those little tail off sections, they need that to be visible. So this is really a great paint for that purpose. Illustrators used it too a lot, you know, when they needed to you know, change something on a painting, they could, you know, mark it off with their bleed proof white, so it was perfect for that type of application. Okay, so I'm going to be splatter painting this in here for my stars. You can do this, you know, with a, maybe you wouldn't add so many with a gel pen or, you know, white acrylic paint pen, which I often do. I often supplement just to get a little bit of variation. But this is a really quick way to add that type of look into a piece like that. I like it down in my little splashing ways, but I still have my little surfer to stamp down there, so I'm not going to add that type of raised little area down there. And then I'll probably go in here. If I want to add some splashes down there, I'll do it with my acrylic paint pen instead. I'm looking a little bit too busy down here too, so I'm going to add in a little bit of a foreground in this area as well. You know, maybe I will do a little bit of embossing on here, maybe with the foreground elements down here, like some grass or something like that, so I'll have an actual raised type of thing. And these little things, I mean, they're not supposed to look like they're raised, you know, they're supposed to look like they're, you know, miles away or whatnot, but... okay, so some of this got down here a little bit, so this is just easily remedied. You can just remove whatever you don't want, like this. I mean, I can buff it off with my finger if I want to, or a paper towel, and it would come right off. Okay, but I didn't get too much onto these stalks like that, so it's not really any big deal. But that's what I wanted up there. Okay, now I think I want some variation, like I said. Now this is a perfect opportunity too. You can go into something like this. You can certainly use a white paint pen, but glitter pens or something like that. Let me see. Almost forgot where I put my glitter pens. Okay, so here's some glitter pens here. Let's see, let's try this one. I'm looking at something within the color scheme. Maybe. Here's Mars right here. Let me see, Venusians are green, right? Froggy Fresh, don't tell me to put the Death Star up in the sky here. Not the card for that one. Another one, maybe. Hello, Don in Maine. How are you? Let's see. What time is it there? 9:50 in Maine. $10 off. That's a pretty good deal. Diana. Excellent. I ordered, on Prime Day, I ordered some cables. You know, for like charging up your, you know, devices, iPhones and whatnot. Exciting stuff, huh? Oh, I mentioned it. I did a post on this channel here, but Marvy inks are on sale today. Or not just Marvy inks, but Marvy everything off the Uchida website, 40% off. Okay, so if anyone wants some these types, not pads, okay, because they're not selling the pads anymore, but if you like, you know, their inks and things like that, or their, you know, 1500 brush markers, I use their 1500 series brush markers. 40% off, that's a lot. Okay, you can normally get their deals on their whatever they have, 30% off if you've never ordered from them before and you sign up on their mailing list. Your first order is 30%, but I don't remember 40% off everything before. So that's quite a sale going on, I would say. I thought about ordering some stuff, but then I was thinking, you know what I have? I think I have a bunch of pens in all of the colors that I need. Some of them I've barely used. Just because we used to sell them like eons ago. And I can always just reconstitute the inks with them. And I have a gazillion re-inkers, but I was thinking, maybe I should, you know, pick some stuff up. Oh, look at this one I've never even used before right here, this green. So, let's see here. Let's get this flowing. So what I'm doing here is I added in those blues. Okay, so that blue, let me see if I was able to see a little bit, but okay, so there's the white in there, right, that you can see. Okay, but see this area in here, see I can see those reflective little glitter pens like that. So this is what I'm always mentioning. I mention the same things too much in all my videos, but what I was mentioning is that if you give your viewer, you reward them for further inspection. So see those blue dots in there, those stars, they're invisible, right? But if someone's looking at your piece and you give them this now, it's like, okay, these different glitter, you know, stars are now visible, you know, with a little flick of the light like that. But that's something that's really fun to add into pieces for your viewer. It just gives them something else to look at, you know. Maybe on this piece I'll add a couple little crystals too, you know, actual three-dimensional little crystal in here. Since this one's going to be kind of thematically about those stars with what I have on the inside or on the other side of this card, I'll add that in here. I haven't added in any of those types of things for a while. You know, three-dimensional media. But okay, so here's some green. So you can add some green in here because there's just a little bit of a greenish tinge in here. So, okay, this one's really visible. Maybe I should have added this. Okay, I should have added this in after I've done the fronds. This one looks like it's really raised. Okay, but see, there's a little greenish tinge up here. So you're kind of going along from a color theme standpoint with your different media here. So, see those green ones up here a little bit. I don't know if you're getting that, where, you know, on this live stream, if it's clear enough for that, but little things like this are fun to do. You know, use your Wink of Stella pens on your water surface or something like that, you know, to kind of liven it up a little bit. Stuff like that is really fun to do. Okay, so let's add in this surfer. I'm going to put the surfer right here. Let's see, I'm trying to think of where I can add them, how high I can add it up in the scene here. Hello, Crystal Fire Creations. All right, so there's that little surfer. Okay, I'm going to put him right in here. That's why I've kind of blocked off that area. If you just joined in, one of the things I did was I wiped off this little area off that Seaside Cove small. So when I stamped it out here, I'd be able to put, you know, I didn't want to put this server way down here, so I've wiped off that area right in here, so that would stamp out lighter, so that I could stamp my subject matter, my focal point, in an area where it wouldn't be obstructed by the textures going on immediately in back of them. Okay, all right, so like this. All right, so see that right there? So it stands out like a lot more than if I had all those tones and textures running right behind them. So keep that in mind if you're going to stamp out, you know, something that you really want to stand out purposely, okay? Like a deer, like in a forest or something like that. If you have too much stuff going on behind them, you're not going to be able to see them that well because of the obstruction of form, the silhouette, okay? All right. Let's see here. I tossed out my paper towel thinking I wouldn't need it again, but this little area down here is just too busy with textures, so let's go in there. We can't remove the texture, but what you do is you make the area underneath the texture a little bit darker so that the contrast between that texture and the background is a little bit more narrow so it doesn't stand out as much, okay? And, you know, too, I mean, maybe, you know, with the fronds up here, when I add those fronds, they're casting a shadow down in this area. And just in terms of framing off the scene, putting a little bit of a stronger vignette around here will be good. It'll bring the attention more towards the that subject matter, the focal point in the scene too. All right, I'll go in the corners up here too. I'll be darkening. I'm tinting a lot of my stars there out here too. Okay. That's another thing too. You can, if you splatter paint something like that with the Dr. Martens, and if you want to, you can tone them with a whatever color you want to, and then if you want to, you can splatter paint again, so you get different colors of dots. You can have some blue dots or something like that, and then you can have some white dots over the top of it, you know, from multiple layers of you know, that splatter painting. So that's always fun to do too, because when you look up in the sky, not all stars are kind of at the same distance and at the same kind of value, you know. Some are, you know, a little bit more dull and distant, or whatever, you know, what is it, younger stars or whatever, white dwarfs and red giants and stuff like that. Oh, I didn't do Mars up there. Let me see. Oh, I didn't use this one yet. Let's see. First time use. All right. It's more orange than red, but oh, there's Mars right there. If I don't like it, I'd just stamp a palm frond over it. No big deal. Okay, so let's see. Where's my palm fronds? I had them out here. I lost them. Oh, here we go. All right. Let's see. Hello, Jason. Good to see you too. All right. Now there's a left and right side to these palm fronds like this. I have them coming in from the left, like this, and I can go like this, okay? So you can do as many or as few as you want, all right? Glad to see my fingers are inky. Usually they are not, huh? They're always inky, but maybe less so sometimes. Okay, so we're going to fill this area in up there. See how busy this that is up there with all that texture? Okay, so we're going to mellow that out with some imagery right over the top of it. So I'm still kind of wondering. I don't. Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to emboss these ones. Although it'd be kind of interesting, you know. I don't know. Maybe it would bring them out closer to us than the stalks. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that is a good idea to do. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to be roughly aiming for that part of the frond to go like that. So I always just kind of, I get really low, you know, next to my paper to see that connection point. All right, like this. I'm holding down a little bit longer because those, like I said, those splatter painted dots are raised a little bit, okay? So remember, we have these two other trees. Okay, so you don't have to match up perfectly, but oops, I didn't stamp that one out perfectly there. My finger wasn't down there. Okay, let me get a little bit more central like that. Okay, and you know, there could be another palm tree out here too, so you can have another palm frond coming in. Or there could be a smaller tree, so we're gonna come in like this. Like so. And then I'll also, while I'm at it with this one, I'll also come over here. I haven't stamped these in a long time. I'm getting my palm frond accuracy back. It's like riding a bicycle, maybe, in terms of adding that right on that little tip there. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go over here. Okay. And let's go. I'm trying to think if I want another one over here. No, let's just go. Let's go with the right. And I can come back with this one if I want to. All right, so this is the left side. Okay. Or, I don't know, whatever. Right side, you know, going left. All right. Okay, let's see. Let me I need to acclimate with this one now and find out where that little tip is. Okay. I mean, there's no set amount of how many fronds, you know. It's not like, oh, that's inaccurate. You should have stamped one more frond or something like that. It's really wherever you want to put it or put them. Okay, let's have it coming in from over here maybe. This is a condolence card, by the way. The guy that passed away was my cousin's kid. And I've seen my cousin over the years, but I haven't seen his kid in like, I don't know, years and years and years. But one of the things that his passion was surfing, and I don't know. Apparently, he traveled all over the place. He went to like Hawaii. You know, he surfed in Hawaii and Tahiti and all these kind of really famous surfing spots around the world. So, and I guess one of his favorite spots was someplace in Hawaii, some break out there. I think it was in Maui or something like that, what it said in his obituary. So, stamping something, you know, a little bit tropical, I'm going to send it to my cousin. And, of course, surfing. All right, so let's see here. I want to do some foreground down here. I want to break this up a little bit right down here. Let's see. Where's my reeds large? I keep certain stamps next to me all the time because I use it all the time, and then I lose it all the time. You know, it's always, you know, isn't that always the case? It's always the stuff. Oh, I'm going to use this too. I'm going to use this plant here. Okay, I'm wondering if I should, I don't think I'm going to emboss. I like, I don't know, sometimes maybe I like it flatter or something like that. Okay, so let's add in a little bit of extra foliage like this too, to kind of intersperse with those, the reeds that are going to go on here. Okay, so this is where I'm also kind of breaking up all of this textural patterning down here. That's a little bit too busy. Now you can say, hey, that's making it even busier, but you're covering up a lot of that, and you're creating a different layer that's closer to the, the viewer's eye here. So it kind of pushes that texturing into the background a lot more like that. Okay. And your eye, when someone looks at this, they probably look at it in terms of, well, they're going to go look at that. But then when they look at the other things in here, they'll look at the things that are closer, and then they'll go back with each different, whatever, textural plane there is probably. And that's kind of the visual path you're creating for your viewer. All right, so let's see. All right, I need to go find my reeds. Let me see. Okay, I can't find the wood-mounted version, but here's the unmounted version. All right. Hello, PJB. Oh, the trunks, the palm fronds, I think they're 123F for the fronds there. No, my wife doesn't do stamping videos. I told her she should sometimes, sometimes she does like a ton of research on how to use certain things, where she says she can't find like any information of it online, that with any degree of clarity. And I said, well, after you figured it out, you should, put a video out there so that you can kind of put all the things that you kind of learned into video form to make it easier for people. And she was like, no. Okay, but see down here, doesn't that look better? With the extra foreground. It kind of plants the palm stalks into something now. And plus, when you add this in here, you're adding a little bit more depth into the scene. So you're pushing your, it's not the depth of field, but it's, I don't know, the field of, I don't know, whatever. Just the range of, depth range, I guess. You're putting something even closer to yourself. All right. So when you do something like that too, from a surfing's perspective, one of the things that you hear the term of a lot of times in surfing, if there is such a thing anymore, but you always hear this term of secret spot, because once everyone finds out about, where a really great location is, you're not going to have those waves all to yourself, anymore. There's probably no places like that at all anymore with the internet and everything like that, and people posting things. But back when, like even in the 80s and stuff, and early 90s, there may be some areas that were still kind of secret spots where you can kind of have, certain, breaks a little bit to yourself. I don't think that exists probably at all anymore. Because surfers, you have to share the waves. It's like one at a time or something like that, I tried to avoid any place where you had to be like super aggressive, I hated that whole kind of atmosphere. But this right here, that would be perfect. The waves are kind of flat though, so. All right, so that is that. A little bit more framed off here. I'm doing kind of centralized kind of composing here. Usually I go for more of like a little bit offset type of thing, but on this one you're just kind of narrowing it down right on the character like that. Froggy Fresh, couldn't find the firm stamp. Uh-oh. Huh. That's cool. You went outside and stamped with it, huh? That's what Fred Mullet used to do. He used to do those fish stamps and things like that, or stamping like with objects. But I think he would stamp with the object and he would make it into a rubber stamp. So always a cool kind of look, because it looked like those kind of like, you know, fish stampings. I don't know if people know what I'm talking about when I say fish stamp. I think it's like a Japanese or Chinese like art form. Okay, so some additional touches with this right here. It's a 0.7 millimeter white acrylic paint pen. Okay, so we're going to bring the waves to life a little bit more. One I was saying is, if I didn't have that character down here, I would have splatter painted a little bit of that bleed-proof white down here to kind of bring some of those waves to life a little bit, in terms of creating a little bit of texture and splashing. But I don't want that splashing to go over my figure, or I don't want it to be under my figure this time. So let's see. Yeah, my cousin's kid. He wasn't like really young or anything like that. He was I think he was like 50. But that's still losing a kid, though. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna send this off to my cousin and his wife. So hopefully they will like it. And okay, so adding a little bit of texturing on here. Can you guys see that right there? I'm adding it right in the, what they call the spindrift. Okay, but it's an area that's already light on the design. Okay, so what I was saying earlier is that sometimes when you're working with darker colors, you go back in and you reiterate your shadows with it. Okay, but when you're doing highlighting, it's the opposite. You go back in and you can reiterate your lighting. So like this area right here is lighter right behind that rock, right? And I've left it a little bit light too from my coloring. I didn't take it too dark, so you can go in and just kind of enhance it with this little bit of extra texturing like this. You put this little lighting on the water like this, okay? Kind of in a horizontal type of, you know, formatting here. You can add little lines on these waves. That, or do dots or whatever. If you ever do too much, you can just wipe it right off. It'll come right off, especially glossy cardstock, okay? But, I don't know, that just kind of makes it shimmer a little bit. They call that, in photography, it's called specular light, or at least that's what I heard in my photography class when I was in college. And it's light that's brighter than white. And we see it everywhere. You see it all around you. If you're looking at a computer, or if you have your phone, you know, you see that little sparkle of light on your little pens and things like this. Okay, so here's this light right here and here, and on this right here. It's on my fingernails to some extent, although they're all inky, like Janet was saying. But that's what you're adding in with something like this, okay? And it's, you know, in terms of rendering something, it's really a pretty significant thing to have in there. It's not like this, you know, nothing touch in there. I mean, even these little stars out here really stand out. But let's say if I wanted to really reiterate this central lighting like this, I mean, these stalks look fine to me as is, but if you want to just kind of, you know, bring out a little bit of extra lighting on them, you can bring something like this on here. And see those trees just kind of stand out from the background just a touch more. And the lighting is coming from here, so I'm left side illuminating those trees right there. And we can do it on this side as well, but on the opposite side, because the lighting is coming from the opposite side of these left side trunks, okay? It's entirely possible to kind of go crazy with this and add everything, and then when you kind of like zoom out, it's like, oh my god, I just put Christmas lights over everything, you know? Which could be fun during Christmas, but, you know, if you don't want that look, you know, kind of as you start adding these types of little touches down like this, you know, we're looking at it like that, and you're looking at it a little area like that, but remember to zoom out and get an idea of how there's a kind of affecting your overall kind of visual that you're creating here. Because like I mean, I do it all the time. I go overboard with it too sometimes. And in a scene like this, you know, or here's the thing too, you know, some of these white dots stand out too much, but you want the highlighting, then, you know, if you have these different colored paint pens, you can use a darker color and add it in there, and it won't be so stark white like that, okay? But yeah, zoom out, you know, so I'm reminding myself of that all the time. Okay, so that was a really sparkly little highlights with that, and let's go in and add in some softer types of lighting in here, which makes things nice and tranquil and evocative. And from a textural standpoint, it really expands kind of the visual vocabulary of a piece, you might say, okay? So, cotton ball right here, okay? I'll show people, kind of smash it down a little bit so that it's nice and flat like that. You don't have it all frayed. It gets really frayed when you add that into your pigment ink like this, okay? Use 100% cotton, because cotton is going to be more absorbent and less, it won't wick out all the moisture like a synthetic cotton ball, okay? And let's put this little character in a little bit of a, you know, that sea foam, you know, mist or whatnot. Not the sea foam, but sea mist, okay? Just like that right there. Kind of puts them like right in that mist there. It's being illuminated by whatever the stars or the light in here. If I want to add that a little bit around in these waves, okay? It's a good way to go and add that in there. It's just, I don't know, it adds to the kind of a tranquil feel of a piece by having kind of a softer element or area within your cards, okay? All right, so let's see, let's put a little bit of it down here. Let's say that some of these leaves or some of these little bushes are reflecting some of that really soft light within the piece. So I'm going to blot this off a little bit more because this is darker down here, and I'll just put a little bit in here like so. See that leaf down there is kind of capturing some of that light and reflecting it back like that. So this area in here is lighter. I'm not going to put it in here because it's really dark. So like say like right here, I'm just going to put a little bit of that over it. So it's all the same image right here, but look at, it's just different than that. It's lighter than that. So it gives a little bit of variation into your piece, and you didn't have to do that, you know, when you stamped it out. You can just do it like now and control it that way and lighten it up as much as you want. Okay, let's put our little character in a little bit more of that soft lighting. Okay. From a thematic standpoint, you know, it kind of goes along with that standpoint. Like that. I'll put a little bit, I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to bathe the character in a little bit more of that light, like so. I think that looks pretty soft, I think, in terms of our lighting. So you get the softness kind of right around in here, but then you get, a little bit more of the, kind of a visual drama out here with crisper imagery, brighter tones, etc. Let's see. Let's put a little bit more up here. Okay. Let's see, I haven't used this in a while. I got that Barely Art Precision Crafts glue. I haven't used this in a while, so I used it like once or twice, and then I stopped, making pieces with stars in it because I was doing so many of the mirror cards, and you can't have like a raised, piece folding in on, that lower section. And I don't know, maybe there's a way to incorporate it in there, but let's see. Let's go in with, let's go add a few little stars in here. Okay. Is this here? Oh, okay. I was wondering if it was even coming out of there. I got this glue because I needed that precision tip like that. And then someone just, I don't know, this kept coming back from, I think, all of you when I asked for a glue recommendation. This is the one that everyone kind of mentioned. This and one other type. All right. I have that. I have about 7 little specks in there. All right. And okay, my Marvy jewel picker here. Let's give them 1 large star, okay? 1 star to rule them all. Everyone know what that was in reference to. Froggy Fresh knows what that was in reference to, but I changed it. Okay, so I'm going to put a large star right over there. Man, maybe that should have been more central up here. We'll give them 2 large ones. I'm not going to remove that one. Okay, I can't even see where I added that in here anymore. Okay, there we go, like that. That might be too big over there, I don't know. Okay, and then we'll go with some smaller ones. Okay, let's see here. I'm going fairly large on this one because kind of the theme of this one is stars. I can't see where I put my other glue dots. I can usually look at it kind of at an angle and see where it's kind of raised. Okay, here we go. Right there. I think it's drying on me, so it's hard for me to see. And then it's amongst all my splatter painting too. Okay, let's see here. Okay, if I can't see it, then I think I'm done. Not that I can't add another dot, star in there. But those are the rules for tonight. If I can't see it, it's done. All right, let's see here. So we have these twinkly little stars in here, like that. Again, it's something that you can kind of, if you got a viewer of the piece, I mean, you can add it down here. Those rings really stand out like that. But again, it's to go on to my, I lost the card. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So it's to go on with this one right here, this quote right here. I do want a decent amount of stars to go along with that quote, okay? So maybe on zone I wouldn't go, so many out there. Maybe I need more. Actually, maybe not the crystals, but the white ones. Okay, let's go in like this. A couple of the larger ones in here for a little bit more variation. All right. And let's get this formatted here, okay? So I've done a pre-formatted card here. It's roughly, well, it's 8.5 by 5.5. And I cut this one down just a little bit smaller so that it can fit right on here. I make the mistakes of working at, you know, like 8.5 by 11. I should really cut it down to 8 by 10 or something like that so I can format it. So when I remember to do that, I'll do that, which isn't too often. But I knew this one was getting sent out, so I made it smaller so I can just go half page on that. Just for ease sake, I could have, you know, 8.5 by 11, I could still mat it up, but it just, I don't know, it's just easier to do it, to cut this piece down, I figured. So I wouldn't be measuring everything. Okay, so like that. Okay. Oh, Linda, it wasn't my loss. It was a cousin's kid, my cousin's child. And I didn't really, I met him a couple times. I don't think I've seen him in 40 years. But he lived, you know, in those 50 years. Like I said, he traveled around. He was like a total surfing nut. And I know how that is because I used to surf and you get obsessed with it. But he, you know, he traveled everywhere. Like I said, in his obituary, I was reading that he traveled to some of these famous surf breaks in like Tahiti and, you know, went out to Hawaii regularly. So, like stampers, you know, we pursue our passions and are constantly, you know, looking forward to things. That's a good way to live, I think, you know. So anyways, that is the card right there. And like I said, from a thematic standpoint, you know, I think it goes with that. So I didn't make a folding card, but it'll just be a postcard right here. And then I'll spray seal this, and that'll bring out a little bit of extra depth in here. But all those stars in there and whatnot. I didn't get my little frond in there, but I don't know. That's not something that really bothers me when doing my pieces. My attention is like right down in this little area down in here. And I don't know, kind of on the lighting and just kind of on the emotional kind of theme of the piece like that. So little crystals and whatnot hopefully bring out a little bit of added extra visual interest there like that. So yeah, so Cecile, yeah, take a look at that. Oh, you had some pens in your cart there, huh? So that's if it's still in there, be a good time to purchase. So yeah, and the sale's only going on, I don't know, at the time when I posted, this was hours ago, it had 11 more hours to go. So I was wondering if it was like they're doing it for the entire US time. So I think it occurred to me, I don't think it was Pacific Standard Time, I think it was Hawaii time or something like that. I don't know, is Alaska in a different time zone than Pacific? I don't even know. Does anyone know that? But anyway, that is the card. Gave myself a chance to use the palm fronds again. I haven't used those ones. And the palm stalks. I haven't used those palm stalks in quite a while. But I always like using it in conjunction with the Seaside Cove. I should try them, though, in a different kind of setting, though. Maybe like a desert oasis or something like that. I haven't used them in that type of setting before, but that would be fun to use it with like the pond or something like that, and do like you know, I would use my snow types of imagery for some sand dunes with the, you know, surrounding types of distant Palm Island or something like that, back in the distance like that. But you can make it like sand in the middle or whatever, a little pond or something like that would be kind of interesting. But I'm glad I didn't use the island down here. The island would have cut through, unless I did the islands in like a lighter blue or a gray or something like that. But I think it would have cut through the fronds like that. So anyway, let's see. Are we still scrolling? Oh, I just realized I wasn't scrolling here. Let's let's see. Oh, yeah, I was locked up top. I scrolled back up and I didn't see what everyone was saying. So PJB, we're always saying goodbye, hello and goodbye to PJB Stamper, aren't we? Yeah. Lord of the Rings, I knew Janet. Yeah, I was figuring Janet got that too. All right, so, oh yeah, well, Janet. See, every time I talk about when someone wanted that little Edward Gorey stamp, it was you, but we just couldn't find it, or could we find it? But that set was like outrageously expensive or something like that. Yeah, but Janet, did you find Gollum though, specifically Gollum? I thought you might have, right? I don't know. Yeah. Thank you, Annie. Yeah, for some reason, this one right here, this one, I don't know, I think I might have been using a different paper. It was really absorbing my ink, so I had to really lay it on there several times. It was anemic through many different coatings there if you didn't catch it from the beginning, so I don't know, it came together kind of in the end, though. And like I said, I'm going to spray seal this right here, and the vibrancy of the colors will come out a little bit more, especially in those blue tones in the background like that. Always be careful spray sealing, what I always say, in the areas in which you've applied kind of a really delicate application of your white pigment ink, because that would stand to disappear. So what I'll probably do is I'll seal around on this outside area, and I'll probably leave this interior kind of focal point area largely untouched with the spray. I won't bother covering it up or anything like that, but I'll just kind of spray around like that where it hits this external area like that. So yeah. What glue tape do I use? I used the Ad Tech Crafters tape. I bought it on Amazon because it was cheap. And that's before I knew there were refills on it. Okay, so yeah, if you ever get those, I bought this gigantic box of these refills here, so I'd never run out again. I never used to use crafting tapes until I started using, well, I started formatting my pieces into cards because it looks a lot better, I used to just do the scene and okay, that was it, format your cards, it'll look a lot better, but I wouldn't do that. But then I started doing all the mirror cards too, so these are the crafting tape refills. And I don't know, everyone else here probably knows a lot more about crafting tapes than I do, so I never had a problem with it. Someone was saying that they use this thing and it was like bunching up all on the interior. I'm thinking, I can't even see where that tape could possibly bunch up in there because it doesn't even come in contact with the piece anywhere. So I don't know. I haven't had any problems with it. And this one's the permanent one, so if you touch it on anything, like I can't even pull that off. It's like stuck like, like iron. So it's very permanent, and I don't have any fear about my pieces coming apart because I can't even separate it as soon as it like touches barely. I don't know. I guess that's good. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. It would be nice if it was a little bit repositionable, but it's not. I don't find. But anyway, I never found... Oh, you didn't find Gollum. Oh, that's right. I forgot you drew him. Yeah. But, yeah, check out, I don't know, different... I don't know. We checked everywhere, Janet. I don't know. We looked everywhere. We looked on eBay. We looked, on Viva Las Vegas Stamps, which typically has a lot of kind of obscure designs. We can't look up Gollum, again, because it's probably a licensed character, but I think we looked up everything else on there and couldn't find it. So, yeah. But you change this little surfer out there, you put that little, little Edward Gorey little stamp or something like that. Or, we were talking about it earlier. Let's say if you're stamping something like this out and you have a little bit of a, a leaf or something like this, or like a log or something like that. We were talking about frogs earlier. If you stamp a frog in here in the foreground, then you're really increasing the depth of scene, taking it from that worm's eye view into, a background or something like that. It's much more whimsical that way. So you can change the theme on something like this very easily, for whatever you want. And if you did something like this in sunset tones, it would have a completely different kind of, I think, emotional kind of spirit to it in many ways. I guess it could have the same. I don't know. You can have a surfer out there and it would have that same type of thing, I guess. But it could change it by quite a bit. So, And this one would be really easy to do, too. If you wanted to, you can stamp out, you can have a background going, you can brayer a background, or you have a photo stamp of some clouds or something like that in the background, and all you'd have to do is just stamp out your imagery right over the top of it in black ink. Just use black dye-based ink and it would be fine. It's not going to be a blue tone scene unless your photograph was blue or something like that, but you can do a really fast version of it. So, I don't know, yeah, I don't know, I should do some other versions of this theme here. I don't know, I had fun using my palm stocks. Like I said, I haven't used them in a while, so kind of fun to build your own trees and things like that. But, have it going in from the left and right side like that and make it as full or as kind of open as you need based on what you want to show in the background. So for me, I had to have a decent amount of sky showing in there, so I didn't add in like even more fronds in there. Yeah. I'll keep an eye out, Janet. Yeah, it might be a tough one. It's like we were talking about earlier with Froggy Fresh finding like Star Wars stamps. I never saw... I don't think I remember seeing too many Lord of the Rings types of imagery, Hobbit or any of that type of thing. You would think that someone somewhere along the line had something like that when that Lord of the Rings series came out, which was kind of in the height of, rubber stamp industry kind of things going on, but that was still licensed material as far as I know. That I don't know if anyone got... I don't know if anyone knows where any of that Lord of the Rings stuff is. Tell Janet. I don't know if she wants all of it, but Gollum. All right. Thanks, Jeannie. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. We'll see you in the next live stream. All right, signing off. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of night or whatever time of day you're at.